Hopefully we don't catch the car on fire. That is the gas tank we're welding next to.
Yeah, most people drive by about 6 times before they realize it's me.
Are you kidding?
Look at this little hot rod. New project coming into the shop today. All the way from Idaho. I haven't been this excited about a car in I don't know how long. I cannot wait to get started on this thing. Wait till you see what this car really is. What do you think, Mr. Peterson? Huh? You try and take my picture?
I'm looking for my sunglasses.
Your sunglasses. What the hell? So, a lot of people don't know who this young man is. This is Steve Peterson. Peterson boys from Idaho.
That's
Steve
me.
Peterson. You got 3 sons, right?
Yeah.
Well,
four sons.
you have 4 sons. 5 sons? And a daughter.
I got 4 sons and a daughter, but just only 1 or 2 of them like me.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, they run a salvage yard up in Idaho, and Steve's been saving cool old cars for years, but he brought this one for me to work on. It's kind of special, so we're going to get it unloaded and I'll show you what's so special about it. New project is in the shop. So I want to point out something that's super special on this car. This is your VIN number, block number. That's all stamped in there from the factory. There's another number here, and I'm going to verify it on the frame to make sure it matches. But that number, specifically on this car, it was the first car off the assembly line in 1929. It's got a chrome dash in it, a nickel dash. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I found something in here though. Basically, an animal ate something and it didn't go well, so it threw it up in the car. So I'm gonna have to clean that mess up before the flies start coming. And we've got a lot of work to do on this car. We're gonna pull the motor out of it. We're gonna build a transmission for it. We're gonna hook the brakes up. I've got the radiator right there, and we are going to make this thing run. We're not going to do a restoration, we're going to do a preservation and get the old girl to run for Mr. Peterson in Idaho. So let's get on. New day in the shop. Time to get this motor out and verify if this car is really what I think it is. So yesterday I had a phone conversation with Paul Shinn. And you guys need to check out his channel on YouTube. He does a lot of Model A stuff. He knows lots of details about these cars. Well, we went over a couple of little things, and he asked me a few questions about the car, including what color it is right now, and then he kind of went over what color it should be. And if this number is on the frame like I think it is, this car was the first car made in January of 1929 for Ford Motor Company. It was made in San Francisco at the San Francisco plant, and the car is blue. I was doing a little sanding on the other side of the car because there's a messed up spot, and I've actually hit the blue color. So we went over details like the steering box, very specific things, and everything on this car so far is right to be a very early 1929 car, and the number that's on the title says it's the first. So I want to verify the number on the frame. I've got to get the motor lifted out, I've got to lift the body, and we're going to do that later today. Alrighty, we got the body lifted up on this thing. What I did was I took the front section of bolts out, I left the rear two in, and I lifted this thing up. These are shims underneath here to shim the cowl forward. People do that when they put these cars together to kind of square them up. And I'm going to put the cowl shims back in over here. They also have this thick steel plate under here. But anyway, we just confirmed the number, and I'll show a picture of that on the screen right now. This is the first car off of the Ford assembly line in the Model A series of numbers, and it was manufactured in January. We'll get the specific time and day. Well, so it's getting late in the afternoon. Motor's still on the floor. I made a mess out of the transmission. I had this one, but I couldn't get the counter shaft to turn. This one's really rusty, so it's going to need some muriatic acid. This red one was pretty good, but I needed an input shaft, so I stole the input shaft out of that one and put it in this one, combined a couple of gears. And now I'm trying to piece it together. However, I don't think I'm going to be able to put it on right here because the two bolts that stick down for the center ball are basically going to hit. So the motor's got to come up. Motor's got to come up at least a couple inches. So let me see if I can get it lifted up, and then we'll get back to you with this transmission on there. And we're real close to being able to put the motor back in. Working on the Holy Grail Model A. I'm dealing with these screws right here that are missing. Missing two screws right there. So I went to the local hardware store and they don't have any pan head slot screws. So I'm going to make some. So probably the worst thing you can do on a Model A is put a Phillips head screw in it. I found flathead Phillips screws and I figured that would be the easiest to convert to what I need. So I'm going to put a little drop of brass on there, and that'll give me the pan head, and that will fill in the Phillips, and then I'm just going to cut with a hacksaw a new slot in there, and that'll make it a flat slot screw like it would have had originally. I know you can buy these screws at the places that sell restoration parts, but we're not waiting for 4 screws. We'll just take a second and make them. It's been a while since I used the torch. It's throwing a fit. And it's going to pop a little because it's galvanized, but what we're trying to do is fill in the Phillips and create a little bit of a panhead dome on it. And then we'll cut a new slot in it, and it'll work perfect. And I'm just using brass. Works really good. Don't get it on your foot though, because it'll burn you. After those cool down, we'll cut a slot in them. Put a little black touch-up paint on them. And I guess technically if you wanted a brass screw, you just leave it like that. It looks like it's brass.
That was genius.
Homemade screws that look period correct. Because that's the worst thing you can do is put a Phillips screw in a Model A. The judges will catch that and they will crucify you. Not that this car is going to be judged, but hey, it's a famous car. It needs to be right. Yeah, it's nice. Alrighty, back on the Model A. Got the transmission in. all together. Top's just sitting on here so that when I slip it in the car, I'm waiting on one piece that goes here, and then we're going to be putting the motor in later today. But right now I'm working on the tail lights. I reached out to Paul Shinn, and I asked him about tail lights on these cars, because I always see people drill holes in the fender. Like these holes, they're not even straight. There was a tail light bolted on here and it was all crooked and stupid looking. And that's the factory tail light over there. And Paul said they only ever came with one tail light. So anytime you see a Model A with two tail lights or turn signals or any of that, none of that's original. This particular car, I want to kind of keep it like original, so I'm only going to put one tail light on it. If the owner wants another tail light, he can drill the holes and put it on. So I'm going to use coat hanger and I'm going to weld this thing up. Good as new. A little bit of flat black paint on that and it'll be good enough. So this firewall is really ugly. Some people have been doing ugly things to it. So I'm going to pretty it up. Fill all these little holes. Weld all this stuff up. Clean it off. Put a little paint on it. I should fix this a little better, but I don't know. I'd rather just remove that heater thing because it's kind of gross how they put it in. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I might do a little work to that too. So, use our trusty coat hanger and we're going to weld these up.
Hopefully we don't catch the car on fire. That is the gas tank we're welding next to. Hasn't had gas in it in 30 years, but hey, should still be flammable. Burning up?
Yeah.
Catches fire up in here, you can be able to put it out. Watch the videos of them doing this in the factory. They just turn the motor and slide it in and put some bolts in. Next thing you know, it's moving down the assembler. This is not going to go like that.
Firewall and it was hitting over here.
It's hitting that throttle. Hitting on everything.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is going to kind of notch underneath in there, hopefully. Oh, parking brake. Wire, okay, we're underneath of that. Ah.
A few moments later.
Well, that looked good.
somewhat, yes. Whether it's all the way, I don't know.
Quite all the way. Yeah, it's got a little ways more to go, but I think we're in the spline anyway. Bolts. There's a hole in there that has to line up. It's got to come back about another 1/2 inch. Okay, watch the bolts in there. Can you see them?
Which bolts were?
Right inside here. You see that where it's got to line up?
The bottom one looks lined up.
It's not. It's got to go back a little.
That bottom one goes pretty
Yeah,
close.
this bottom will probably go.
I know. That top one, though, not so much. It's about as far away as this side is.
New morning in the shop. Still working on the old OG Model A. We fought yesterday and got the engine in. Guess I shouldn't leave them vice grips on there. Also, transmission, everything's back together there. Drive shaft or torque tube is hooked up. Brake pedal, clutch pedal, everything looks good, feels good. Gas pedal, yeah, we're basically ready for a battery and a floorboard there. So out here we need to put an alternator. I'll show you what I got here. We're converting this to a 6-volt positive ground alternator. Normally I build these, but this one was cheap enough. I just went ahead and bought it. But this is a good conversion to put on these things. These Model A's, they tend to overcharge with the original generator because it does not have a regulator on it. So it has a cutout switch, and the cutout switch just disconnects it when you shut the car off, and half the time those don't work. But there's an adjustable brush in there that you actually adjust for night, and if it's overcharging in the day you adjust it back, and it's like kind of a nuisance to deal with. I mean, compared to modern day times, back in these days it was all you had, so that's kind of what you did. You adjusted your brush and dealt with it. But this car, to be a nice little driver, you're just better off putting that alternator on. You know, I prefer the look of the generator because it's an original car, but I don't know. Tell me what you think down in the comments. I think the alternator is a better way to go. It doesn't cook your battery. It keeps your battery healthier, and you know, it just always works. So we'll get a distributor in this thing, and we'll get the radiator back on, and headlights, and probably adjust for the hood. I don't know if I'll leave the hood on it, but we'll get it close. And then we got to deal with the fuel tank. Ooh, the fuel tank on this is really bad. Successful day in the shop. Got the headlights done, the radiator down, the hoses on, the alternator on, wiring laid out. Still waiting on the distributor.
Hello friends, I'm Paul Shinn from the YouTube channel that's making Model A's cool again. And just like that, it's ready to bubble wrap up, put it in a box, send it to Merlin. He's going to install it in a very special Model A. I keep saying that throughout the video, but trust me, this car is very special. Why? You notice I've been taking some extra care to make sure I used a 29 housing. I used the 29 brass parts on it. Why did I make it so 29 and make it so original? 810123. Go ahead, look it up. I'll wait. 810123 was the very first Model A built for 1929. Yep, the first Model A to roll off the assembly line in January 19...
Well, it's a new day in the shop. Doing a little work on the mini semi truck today. Probably gonna try to finish up the seat brackets, maybe work on the door panels a little. Got an oil leak, so I'm gonna have to tear this pump back off and fix that oil leak. It's driving me crazy. A little bit of wiring, but got some exciting news. Paul Shinn built me a distributor, and it arrived today, so we're gonna get this thing opened up and in the car out here, the Model A. Get the OG Model A ready to go. Wow, he bubble wrapped that pretty nice. Look at that distributor. Wow, that thing is beautiful. That thing is like ready to just drop in and go. I love it. Even an original Ford cap. Wow, that is neat. That is very neat. So yeah, we're going to be working outside in the heat just a little bit, but let's get some tools and get this distributor in. Well, first line of business, I guess, is to watch the Paul Shinn video on how to set the timing on this thing. Well, I guess we can install it first and then we can watch that. He has a very good video on how to set the timing on a Model A. It's pretty simple, but I'll link that video so anybody with a Model A can watch it and learn how to set the timing. First thing you do is you remove this little pin here, this timing pin. And then with good luck, there is an indentation in the cam gear, which that cam gear sounds metal, which is never a good thing in a Model A. Should have a fiber gear. Then by turning it slowly with the hand crank, you will feel the pin drop into an indentation in the front of the gear. And once it drops in, that is top dead center number 1. And now I've been around twice and I haven't felt the indentation, and I know why. It's because it's got a junk aluminum aftermarket gear. So I'm going to pull this spark plug. Basically, by pulling the spark plug, I'll put my thumb over the hole, feel it come up on compression, and see if I can get a more accurate guess of where this indentation should be, which we're coming up right now. We'll reach in here and check this out. I believe that's still coming up. It should be like right there. We got nothing for indentation. So the timing mark on this one, because somebody didn't fix the gear, is pretty much junk. So this little nipple will drop into a little indentation. Most of the aftermarket gears, it's just a little nick mark because it's used for timing inside with the gears. And it basically isn't deep enough to even feel. So normally if you put those aftermarket gears like that, well, you should never put those aftermarket gears in. You should use their fiber gear. But anyway, we're number 1, top dead center compression. I'm comfortable with that. So now we need to essentially drop the distributor in. Carefully take this precious original cap off. And just turn that until it is happy dropping down in there like that. And make sure the body is locked on the pin. Actually, this thing's kind of locked up, so maybe we should put that in the distributor first. You want to be careful with this little thing. You don't want to over tighten it. You over tighten it, you'll bend that little plate inside, and that's never good. It shorts that out. Okay, we are going to set our distributor hold down bolt. That doesn't have to be too tight because it locks in on a pin. And then carefully tighten the jam nut. Proper screwdriver. Alright, we have the proper screwdriver now. Loosen that up just a little. And my tool is buried, so I'm going to do it by hand. Should have this lever connected, but I haven't made the rod for it yet, so we're just gonna wing it here. Now the rotor is pointing over here to number 1. Yeah, we're close. That'll be a close first try. Get a coil wire on this thing, and then we'll get back on it and see if we can get it. We got our timing rod here. We got spark plug wire. So this little rod attaches to here, and then it attaches to here, and then we should have timing control. There we go. That's retarded and advanced. And the makings for our plug wire. Put those little ends on there. And that should plug in there, like so. And there's that. Well, get me a camera operator and we'll see if this thing will run. I think everything's ready. Got a battery. If we have spark, we have gas now. All right, we got our distributor installed from Paul Shinn. Thank you, Paul. It's probably going to be the nicest thing on the car. Actually, I think this engine was probably rebuilt, but I don't have a belt on it yet, so, and I don't have water in it. So I'm only going to start it for a second just to make sure this motor will even run, because I don't know anything about this engine. I put avgas in it because the tank's kind of skunky. But I don't know when this thing ran last. I don't know if this is a rebuilt engine. It was sitting in the car when we got it here, but it looks to be in pretty good shape, but it doesn't look new. It looks used, so I don't know. It's got oil in it. It's got all the right things. It feels like it has compression, so hopefully it'll run. Let's see if we can get it started. This will be the first time this car's run since probably 1970 something. It's been sitting a long time. So it has a down downpipe, but it doesn't have a muffler because I didn't have the exhaust. The owner forgot to bring it. So I just put a downpipe so that I could run it and drive it. So it's going to be kind of loud. But yeah, Paul's distributor fired right up. First try. That's awesome. Man, it sounds just like a Model A. That's good. Fire up and get us home. Get us to breakfast, then home. Nice start. Well, I don't hear water bubbling out. That's a good sign. Let's go get us a pancake at Rusty's. It has a little timing here, throttle here. You got mixture here, choke. See, so you can tune it on the fly. That's lean. That's rich.
Oh,
Kind of cool, huh?
you told me they gave you an instruction book with it to teach the girls how to drive them.
Well, so you got timing. This is retarded. Advance the timing up a little. Put a little timing, put a little fuel in it. Rock and roll.
Now we're gonna rock and we're gonna roll.
Yeah. See you later, Tim.
Later, buddy. Have a good day.
Well, we just had us a pancake at good old Rusty's restaurant. Best barbecue in Havasu. Now we'll see how it climbs the hill.
That's pretty good. 35.
That was a little dip.
Like those whoopie
Oh, is it boiling water out?
Nope.
Didn't even overheat coming up the hill, and it's kind of hot today. The alternator's charging, the lights are working. That ignition is working flawless. I didn't touch that thing right out of the box from Paul's rebuild shop. Right in the car, set the timing, runs perfect. Love it. Yeah, the radiator leaks have slowed down. I put a little stop leak in it because these old Model A radiators, you know, won't cover the leak. But this one's in good shape. It cools the car really good, so. Yeah, we'll adjust the brakes up and get it back to Steve Peterson. Well, we're all done with the little Model A. It'll be headed back for Idaho soon, and we'll be on to the next project, which is this mini semi-truck to get it ready for a car show in September. But stay tuned because we're getting our things ready to go on our river run. And don't forget, we're going to be giving all those jet skis away that we built and shipped out there. So when we announce the dates, be ready when we land in St. Louis. We're going to need eligible people, and by eligible people I mean someone who has a trailer or some way to move that jet ski that very minute out of the parking lot. What we'll do is, if you're eligible for the jet ski drawing, we'll put your name on a piece of paper. It goes in a hat, and we're going to draw it out and give it away. They may or may not run. My guess is they're all going to be running, so they all have clear paper. There will be some other small items that we'll be giving away too. So yeah, pay attention for those dates on that river run. We'll be announcing them probably right before we go, and then we'll have that meet and greet in St. Louis. Time to get the ski season started. I'm gonna have to get my jet skis out, starting to warm up. Okay, so we just found a mound of dirt. Steve's here from Idaho, picking up the Holy Grail car. I hate to see this thing go.
Yep, good.
Thanks for watching.
I want to say a special thank you to Paul Shinn, who is a Model A expert. He helped me with so many, help me understand this questions. And he had the answer, just boom, boom, boom. Made the trip so much better for me. I kind of leaned on him probably more than I should have. Super nice guy. If you have a Ford Model A or you're interested in getting one, go check out Paul Shinn. He's got a lot of really neat, informative, and interesting content.